This is the meeting of the Oregon City Art Commission for September 15th. Meeting is commencing at 7:11. Who wants a soda? Okay, first on our agenda is the August 2022 minutes. And does anybody have any revisions?
I'm sorry.
Yes, yes,
I think you have to
please.
do roll call
Thank you.
first.
Oh, okay. Roll call.
Sorry.
And do you want to do roll call or do you want me to take roll
I
call
can do roll
tonight?
call if you like.
Okay, that'd be great.
I'm just gonna say I'm really happy to be here tonight. When Daniel asked me to do it, I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see everybody. So Mary Andrus,
Here.
Josh Planton,
Here.
Christina Lugo, or Emma
Here.
Lugo. Tammy Jo Wilson.
Here.
Jen Woodward.
Here.
Celine Jones.
Here.
Trieste Andrews.
Here.
Tima Carlson.
Here.
And Karen Murig. Here. Thank you.
Thank you. First is the approval of the minutes. Did everybody have a chance to read them? Do you have any revisions or any comments on them? And if there are no revisions or corrections or additions, we will accept them as they are. The minutes stand approved as distributed. So moving on, is there any public comments or anybody public? I don't see anybody here or
Anybody on
online.
Zoom today?
We are on Zoom, yes.
We don't have to vote on minutes, just if there's no corrections, then they're approved. So no public comments, and so let's just dive into it, into the survey questions review. I think our goal for tonight is to decide on the questions that are going out, and then we can look at the timeline for it, which looks pretty comfortable.
So Trieste, I'm not sure why, but Daniel suggested doing the timeline first.
Oh, timeline first, okay, that's good.
Why, but that was something he wanted to, he suggested that it might.
Sure. And this was a last minute addition, so did everybody get the timeline from the, okay.
It's in the packet. If you picked up a packet, it's on page 3.
Yeah.
And that just has a suggested timeline for when it would,
Yeah.
go out.
So I think Plan A was to try to get them out a little sooner, but the timeline was super, super short and restricted. And so after some thought, this is the timeline that staff and Dan thought would probably be the best thing, in a short conversation with him. And so this is the suggestion timeline for everybody's approval on it and for everybody's information. But on September 15th, hopefully tonight, we can decide on what those questions are going to be. September 28th, we can have a chance to review them, make any modifications, and we can approve them remotely, which will be wonderful. On October 5th, Dan submits the final insert art to the mailing service. On October 20th, it's finalized and approved by the Arts Commission. And then it goes out into, for the November utility bills. On November 30th, hopefully that will have some feedback on that. That's when the submission due date is. And then the survey results would be presented to the Art Commission. And I think one thing that we might want to just take a feeling and an approval on is a lot of organizations take December off. Do we want to take that December 15th meeting and meet one more month so that then we can review what the results for? Because at that point, we are going to be able to, kind of make just some decisions on.
So we have an Arts Commission meeting October 20th, which is the day of, we finalize the survey, correct? That's the
Yeah, so
third.
what is that the third?
Yeah, October 20th is a Thursday. It's
Okay.
our scheduled meeting time.
Oh, okay, yeah, so that's when we'll be finalizing it and having it approved. and then it goes out into the November utility bills.
For those of us that are on the committee only for 1 year,
Yeah.
does that mean that we only attend through December and then someone else replaces us in January?
That whole situation is a little iffy right now because the mayor has to approve the new commission. And we're in the middle of an election year. So there's a possibility that may even be delayed. So we'll have, oh, go ahead, I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say, we have a mayor. Isn't Denise currently our
Yeah.
interim?
She's interim mayor, but this is with some discussions with the city on that's what is going to happen with the art commission. Because I asked him, what's the process for the commission? Because people are coming to the end. Can they reapply? How does that work? And he said several times, he said, the only thing is it's a little bit of a gray point right now because it has to be approved by the mayor coming in. And that may be delayed a little bit. And I'm not sure if that means that the commissioners present here will be able to extend it until that time or, so I asked him if we could discuss the process for commissioners in either October, November, as soon as we can fit that in. So everybody here is clear on what their terms are.
Who wants to run again? Who wants to be on
Well,
Well, not all of us are 1 year.
Right.
Yeah, it was
Right.
explained to me that there was way more people than they had slots for. So
Oh,
they
really?
rotated and had some people who were appointed for 1 year
Yeah.
and some people that are appointed 2 years, and then some people who are going to step in year 2 for the people who are only in the 1 year. That's how it was explained.
I
Okay.
didn't know that.
So yeah, that would be great to get that all clarified in either the October or the November meeting. And that's what was told to me was that you could reapply, but end decision was going to be up to, because the mayor makes the appointments. So, but we'll know more. That's all I know, and I don't know even if that's correct. So October, November, we'll see if we can have somebody from the city come in and clarify that all for us.
That sounds good, thank you.
Okay.
Who has 1 year terms? I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I do
1,
too.
2,
3?
3.
And do all of you want to be on the commission again, or are you stepping down?
I'll probably reapply.
I have so much on my plate. I don't know if I can.
I mean, I don't know either. I have to be honest, I haven't really felt like the Arts Commission has really done much of anything. And I don't know if I want to go through another year of just
Yeah.
having endless meetings without really any results, but I mean, I'm willing to consider it.
Don't you think
I think we're
you'll get more
starting-
done in year 2
Yeah.
now, now that you're getting your
Right.
groove on?
Yeah.
maybe.
I feel like we're
Well, they're
starting to
3-year
get our
terms,
footing.
aren't they?
I know it's going slow, but I feel like we're getting our footing.
No, but there's some 3 years.
No, I think there's 3-year terms.
No,
Arts commissions were 3-year terms, and so they had to, because there's 9 of us, they broke us apart into 3 in 1 year, 3 in 2 year, and 3 in 3 year. But if you reapplied, you'd be reapplying for 3 years because we were starting off, they had to batch us.
I think he's right.
Because they
That's where
didn't
it was
want
too,
everybody to
but-
end their term at the same time.
yeah, I could have swore it was 2, but I could be wrong. I would like to say that for those of you that are 1 year term and like Mary, you're saying you're not sure you want to continue or you're not want to continue, I do have ideas of people, I'm aware of people in the community that would be interested in coming to this commission. So I feel like you guys should not feel obligated. Like if you leave, that we're gonna be short people, like, do what you gotta do if you.
But we will miss you.
We will miss you.
We might have a going away party.
I mean, I could
But
see
don't
myself
feel
applying for a
pressured.
grant or something to
Yeah.
be engaged in a different way.
Yes, there you go.
Yes, that would be wonderful to carry that on in an active way. Okay,
gonna be on
great.
December 15th.
So everybody's still comfortable with the suggested timeline so far? Any questions?
Well, actually, I think I understand now. It says, so between October 27th and the 3rd, that's when things will be mailed out. And then it's pretty much the month of November that people, so it's 1 month that people have to submit the survey. And I think that was another thing that we were trying to hit, was to get it done before the holidays at the end of the year, so.
And in order to have done that, we would have had to make the decision tonight and then have them approved and sent out like in a week, and then hit the October utilities. And it was a time crunch that was like, do we really need to do we really need to do this fast without being able to have a second look, without taking it a little slower? So that was kind of what the timeline kind of.
I think this timeline looks good. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
far enough from the holidays. It's not even a Thanksgiving yet.
Right.
So I think,
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable with it, but I want to make sure I get feedback. Commissioner Lugo, do you have any comments on it? Or?
I mean, I think that we should meet in December. We met in December last year and we actually
Okay.
had
I love
a
that.
pretty good turnout. It's pretty
Yeah.
far ahead of.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. Okay, good. Are you good?
I'm good.
Yep.
Anyone else? Any comments? Any feedback?
I would love to meet in December because that'll be my last meeting, so.
Okay. Oh,
oh, the
I
December,
look for your feedback.
December meeting, I hadn't even.
Yeah. There's a high likelihood I won't be here because it's my husband's birthday.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I just,
He's invited.
just a heads up.
So I do have a question. The survey, is it going to be a self-addressed stamped envelope for people to mail in directly, or is it like a scan where they'll be
I think it's a
going
QR code
online?
kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can do both ways. So I think the preferred way is, so when it goes out in the utility mailing, there'll be a QR code that people will receive, and then you can just click on that or type in the URL. And if you prefer to do paper, you can do paper too. So like we'll make some paper ones available, like at the farmer's market and other events, but will primarily be online.
And we'll have a chance to have that clarified by September 28th also. What is it exactly going to look like? How is it going to be? So we'll have a chance to approve that. So I think we need to take a vote on that. So if somebody wants to take a motion to have this timeline accepted.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I
Sorry,
can't
who
make
made
the
the
motion because I'm the chair.
Yeah, I just said motion to approve.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Do we need a second? Is
I
that
second it.
okay?
Okay, so our commission has approved the timeline for the questionnaire to the public.
I think we have to vote on it.
Okay, that's right. So let's take a vote. Commissioner Karen Buren?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Commissioner Verluga?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee McCarthy?
Did you vote, Triest?
Oh,
Vote?
yes, I vote yes.
I vote yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve the timeline for the questionnaire for the Oregon City community into the utility bills has been approved. And now this is the big part of the night, is the questions, if we can kind of hammer these out and see what kind of. So if you turn to the staff report, I think, I'm not sure, but anyway, let's just move on. My feeling because I did submit some questions for it, was I thought that it would be important to be able to clarify to the public, because when you say, which I know everybody here did with commission, was, if you just say, what do you want for art? Nobody knows what to tell you. You're like, I don't know. I like art. And so we had questions that were kind of multiple choice, and then there were questions on a scale of 1 to 10, how important are the arts to you? So it'd be nice to kind of make a combination of that, because this is the feedback that we got from the commissioners for these questions. And does somebody want to lead that off after having read them? What do you think of these questions? How do you want them organized?
I mean, I'd just like to say that I think that this idea of having a range of different kinds of questions is something that folks in Oregon City are really familiar with from just having many people filled out the park survey.
Okay.
And, it seemed like that was a really good survey. And it was just like this. I mean, it had questions where you could write down what you thought. It had questions that were 1 to 10. It had questions that were multiple choice. And I mean, it had a lot of questions. I think it had like 90 questions in it or something.
Very in-depth,
Yeah.
very cumbersome, I thought.
Right.
Very cumbersome.
And I saw on Facebook that there were quite a few comments that it was too long.
Yeah.
It was
So-
very long.
I just want to keep that in mind.
Well, this is a lot shorter so far.
It is.
Well, I guess how many questions do we want to have in this survey? What do we think is a reasonable number?
I think 10,
10 questions?
no
Didn't
more.
we say like, we specified a number in the last meeting? I thought it was like 5 for the.
It shouldn't take people more than 5 minutes to complete.
Yeah, that might have been what we,
Yeah, we had a specific number, a range.
I wonder if we can take a minute to just rank the most significant questions that stand out to us and then talk through those.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And if you want to do it in the form of rate 1 to 10, or if you want to do it as a multiple choice with comments at the end, what would be the best way to present it? Or the easiest thing for someone to fill out?
Or can you also include the option of having a mix of question styles, like the park survey?
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't have to be all one category or all another category types of
Fill
questions.
in.
I mean, could we all have a third option, which is like a mixture of different types?
Yeah, that'd be great. And just to integrate that, but come to the decision of what those will be and how we'll ask them. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to rate these questions in order of,
Why don't we
How
just
they'll
go
be
through the
presented?
list? Why don't we go through the list and just talk through them? And maybe we'll get an idea based on everybody's feedback, what
sure,
I think that's a good idea. I think it's hard because they're not numbered.
Yeah.
So it's, you know,
like, yeah, I
Easier
think
to
this
sort
is
of top.
from 3 or 4 people that put all of their questions in, so we're gonna have to kind of
So,
clarify them all.
so Tris, my first question is, at the very top of the page, it says, please submit any questions you would want to ask the community related to public art projects. That's, is that a question? Because after that, everything after that is indented. And so I'm not sure if, it's a little confusing because it says the following questions were submitted, and then please submit any questions you would want to ask the community related to public art projects. So I'm wondering if that first one, please submit any questions you want related to public art projects, is a question.
No, well, that's not part of the survey.
That's
I
not-
think this is
okay.
addressed to the Art Commission.
Okay, great,
That
thank
if you,
you.
here's the questions, if you
Sure.
have anything else, submit them
Okay,
at
good,
this time.
thanks.
So,
Because I wasn't sure if, I mean, it says public art projects, and I'm not sure if that was like the scope of our survey. I thought it was more than that.
yeah, I think weren't there like 3 categories that the commission was asked to give questions on?
oh, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there's, again, it's not numbered. Say we have that, please submit the questions. And then if you think you're, please submit
Gotcha.
questions you want to ask
Thank you. Sorry
related to
about
artist grants
Okay,
and then
thanks.
the community.
So it's broken up into 3 categories already, so is that how we want to do the survey itself then?
I'm
We're gonna
comfortable
do
with
it.
that. People like that, those 3.
Sorry, say again. Say again.
Oh, these are already categorized into 3 main sections for the questionnaires. And is everybody comfortable with that, how that is submitted? And then under those 3 categories, that's what we were given in our, when we were asked to submit our questions, there were 3 categories. And they were,
Because that's how we're dividing our budget
right.
into the 3
Yeah, exactly.
categories.
So
Right.
there's one of the questions that I wrote is in the wrong section.
Oh, okay.
So on page 2, the second batch of questions, it says, please rank and order the importance of the focus of future public art projects.
Right.
I was thinking that would go under public art projects and not under artist grants.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Clearly that is in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
So are we gonna go through the individual questions? Because I had a concern about the first one. Or I don't want to jump ahead if we're not there yet.
We'll go ahead and, we'll do the feedback and just so
Okay.
that we clarify for
Okay.
that particular one.
Okay.
Okay.
Could
So-
somebody pass me the markers? I don't have anything to write with.
You want a marker or just,
Whatever.
There's
you have pink?
Pink is
So
perfect.
the first question, would you like to see or what would you like to see as a public art project? And then the first option, community or art community center, which in my mind is not a public art project.
Okay.
It is a community center. It's, a project is a thing that has a start, a middle, and an end. So it doesn't really fit with that question. And so I think, yeah, I would find that confusing and not accurate.
So what do you think if that was a separate question in its own that said on a scale of 1 to 10, would you like an art cultural center that
And
incorporates?
we actually do have that question.
Oh, we do have
Just,
one
yeah,
by
just
someone
five
else.
questions.
I think a better way to do it would be to change the public art project part of it to be more all encompassing instead of saying public art specifically.
Or programs, I mean, project/programs. Because that community center would fall somewhat under that. It would be a public art program.
And I think we have to go back to, I'm not sure which commissioner said it, but that these are in relationship to where we decided to put our money. That there was, what, 20,000 for grants, 10,000 for like an art project event. And then what was the
I
what was
thought
the
it was
last
15.
10?
So the first one is, so we have public art as our
number
first
3.
section.
I think it was
And
20 for
then-
grants,
Here we go.
15,000 for projects, and
Okay.
5,000 for research.
Grants.
That's it,
Yeah.
that's what it was, yeah. So,
And part of the 5,000 is gonna go towards the survey.
right, yeah, that was it. So if we keep that in mind, that's what these questions are for, is what we're gonna do with the money.
One of the things that I think we should think about as we're talking about this first question is the very top one on the second page is extremely similar, right? And whether or not this concept could, pulling in murals, sculptures, theater performances, interactive collaborative art should actually be bundled into this first question.
Well, I think actually the big difference between them is we have on that page 2 of 2 at the top is more individual kind of art forms, whereas the first question is a lot of events and engaging activities that those others, except for the interactive community collaborative art, which
Yeah.
who knows what that means.
Yeah. I mean, this first question, the options aren't really public art in the way that I would normally think of it. An annual art festival, I mean, that's an event, but it's not a public
Community
art.
engagement
Right,
surrounding art.
Right, I mean, it's all great, it's just not a public art project.
And so how would we fund that over?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think those are important items to ask the public. Where would that fall into our 3 categories of where our money was going? Wouldn't go,
Public art,
wouldn't,
grants, and
Research was the last one.
I guess that would go, it would have to go under research, because that's one of the things we wanted to research was the feasibility of an art center and how that would be possible in our community.
How about as a funded public art focus? Funded by the city.
I don't know.
I mean,
But to me, it seems that that first question does need to be refocused instead of it saying, what would you like to see as a public art project? It would be what type of public art events? And just be, because all of those say events, you know, they're events and activities.
Yeah,
And make sure that that question is very different than the question on the other page, which is about the actual, you know, type of art. So one's about events and the other's about art.
I mean, I would think that you could just take out A, and if you need to, wrap it in with question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because question 5 is the same question.
Yeah.
So then you would just have, you know, start with B, regular city art events as your first one. And then maybe rename it as something besides public art because it's really more community events. Like what community art events matter to you, check all that apply or something like that.
Well, and I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, question 4, what arts programs, if any, would you like to see in Oregon City? Music, murals, sculpture classes, or festivals? That kind of embodies the first question on the first page and then the second question.
I agree, I think that kind of gives a good umbrella for
Yeah,
a lot of these questions. And would be easy for somebody to understand and say, oh yeah, well, I would love this the most.
yeah.
And yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10. Yeah, I like that.
So
You know,
maybe,
the other thing that I was just thinking we could do instead of ranking 1 to 10 is say, you're given a budget of $15,000. You apply the money in these various categories. How much would you
Yeah.
put in
Yeah,
each?
I've done a question like that recently. It was really interesting to think through that, like, what am I gonna spend? Like,
Yeah.
ooh, I'm gonna put, you know, half of it in this bucket and half of it.
And that might get us a better
Yeah.
idea of what we want to allocate towards what.
And it really forces them to like think about it in a spending, because that's what we're asking. How do we spend our money?
Might be a fun way for them to answer too.
Very creative.
I like the idea myself. As someone who answered a question, that style of question recently, I found it very engaging.
Is that okay if we disclose an amount of money that if you,
I
you know,
think
how
it'd
do
be
we word
like
that?
100. Say you were given $100. How would you divide that 100 to
Yeah.
cover arts programming in these
If we did it that way, it would be easier to break it up into percentages of like they want to, if they say, you know, $20 towards this and 50, like we would be, all right, they want to put 20% of the money.
Right, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? As opposed to if we say 15,000, that's a bit more abstract.
Idea, I like it. It's fun.
Although if you say 15,000, that gives them a more of a sense of what we're working with.
Just put that in fine print. We actually have 15 pounds.
Technically, it's already public knowledge because it's been.
Yeah, but it's different when you like have the money there and you're the one shifting or like, I'm gonna put 10,000 towards this
Yeah, but
one.
think
I'm gonna
about the
put-
math in that. Like, my goodness, if
Yeah.
we're talking about how long it takes
Yeah.
us to complete a survey, I'd be
Yeah.
sitting there just like, oh, I don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna either way.
I would like to say that.
I hate math, I'm not gonna fill this out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would
I mean,
like
I'm
to
good
say,
either way.
Commissioner Trace, that
sorry, go ahead.
I feel like asking people about how they would spend $15,000 is kind of, it's outside of what's normally considered a survey question, because it's like a survey question is supposed to get at the values of the people who are responding. And a question like, how are you going to spend $15,000? That's sort of like, I mean, not to discount your idea because it's a really good idea, but it's kind of like we're asking people to tell us what to do with the money, and it's like that's kind of our job to figure that out. It's supposed to be kind of simple and sort of general. I mean, that's generally what it's, but I don't have any problem with direct democracy too.
The reason I say this is because I think if you say order them, like you give them 5 options, order 1 to 5, they might put them in an order, but you don't know what the difference is in their mindset between number 1 and number 2, or number 2 and number 3. There could be a huge gap there, and so they just did 3, 4, and 5 just because
Yeah.
they only cared really about the first 2.
Yeah.
So by
I mean,
giving
yeah.
them that money, you're actually saying like, no, these are the only 2 I really care about, and the others I don't. And I think that gives us a little bit more idea of what, even though we want to try and broaden, you know, our spending as much as possible, that might give us a better idea of the sense of what they really want.
Yeah, I think it could give, like when we crunch all the numbers together, it would give us more specific information about
Yeah.
what they really value and are interested in. Of like, this is what's important to me.
Yeah, I think once you collate all those answers,
Yeah.
then you're gonna have a better idea of what the community at large would think is most important. I personally, just my vote would not be to how to distribute the money. I think people would get turned off, but they're used to putting something on a 1 to 5 scale or a 1 to 10 scale. They're used to doing that, and to be able to say, oh yeah, I like this the best, I like that kind of,
And if you do have, sorry.
Go ahead.
If you do have all the scales kind of near each other, you do have kind of grow a context and there's, I think
Yeah,
there would
like
be a
I tried to make
relationship
a
with
list
the
and then the
metric.
bubbles of like, dislike. And
Yeah,
you can like one and then put a no bubble for the rest of them or whatever.
like, I mean, can we do for each item to do that they can excuse me, they can decide on 1 to 5, how much do you like that for each one? So that maybe there's like 2 or 3 of them that they say 4, 4, 4, because they would really love to do that. And then there's a couple of them that they don't like. So that each item can be specifically, they can decide on each item on a 1 to 5 basis what they would like to see supported.
I mean, I get what you're saying that with a budget, you can't give everyone a 4. Like, it's not possible. So then you do see a more nuanced ranking, but.
Yeah, either way, I mean, I just think that if we can get more granularity into, if we're gonna do a shorter survey, but we want more granularity, it would be better to give them as much flexibility in their answer as possible. And that also makes them, I think, like you were saying, think about it a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Because if you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is pretty easy to put down and not contemplate. Whereas if you're given a budget, you're gonna think about it for a second and think, okay, how much would I do that?
Especially if you're somebody that is really an art supporter and you're just like, yeah, I love art, I'm gonna give 5s for everything.
Oh, yeah.
And then that doesn't really give us any sense of like, well, what do you really think this community needs? They're just like, I love the art, so I'm gonna just be like, spend it all on everything. Or somebody who's the exact opposite, of like,
I like the $100 idea. Yeah, you guys have a good point.
anyway,
Yeah.
anybody else wanna weigh in, quiet people?
Are we still just talking about the first question? I think we're still.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Thank you for that check-in.
I think, are we now talking about question 1, 4, and?
We're talking about all of
Those
it
three, they
broadly.
kind of overlap?
Yeah.
I
How
put
we wanna
the
manage
first
that.
question as number 10, and they say, check all that apply, so it should be check boxes, not A through F. And, number 1, I put as the second question on a scale of 1 to 10, and kind of going down. But every single question was used.
You ranked them, you're saying, I see.
Correct.
So you put the first question as your last preferred
Yes.
question.
And I liked the idea that this 1, 2, 3, 4, what arts programs would you like? I think this encompasses so many of the questions on here. And maybe we add a couple to them. What arts programs do you want to see in Oregon City? Rate each one on a scale of 1 to 5 or 10. So each one, music, oh, I would love to see that in Oregon, see more music. I'm going to give that a 4. Murals, oh, I really want to see that. I'm going to give that a 5. Sculptures, oh yeah, that's nice, but not as important as, then I give it a 3. So on and so forth. Say that again?
We got a sculptor if I
You guys would want 5 on sculpture, that's okay. So what do you think of that? That we take this one question that is such a great umbrella, find all the other questions here that kind of fall under that and just cross them off. Oh, that's already included. And then decide what it's going to look like. Is it going to be a scale for each one? Is it going to be on how much money do you want to pay on each one? So then we have our first question. What arts programs do you want to see? And then are people okay with that?
So on question number 4, let me see if I can break down what you just said. I like what you said. I would definitely want to add theater as a category to
Okay.
it. And then I'm not sure if I like the ranking system for each of these categories. I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't know if all the other questions in the survey would have to match that format, but
I don't think they are going to.
Oh, okay, great,
But it's
okay.
kind of a good starting point that we could do that as, hey, what do you want to see in Oregon City? What's your favorite?
maybe art galleries.
Scale things.
Art gallery? Sure.
Dance.
Someone say dance?
Dance.
And I'd like to frame the question, if it works for everybody, as what you want to see more of, because we already
Yes.
have some of this happening. So
I agree, I support that idea.
Yeah, I like that, more of. And I think we need a little wordsmith on what arts programs, if, okay, let's take out if any.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Don't even make him think about that.
Exactly. Nope. Get them. Get your program.
No dance
Taking him out is not an option.
No.
Are we doing any write-in options?
Are we doing?
Other, colon,
Other,
Yes,
yeah, that's
other,
good.
absolutely other. So what art programs would you like to see more of in Oregon City?
$100.
Yeah, they're tall.
And then just start to list them. Music, mural, sculpture, classes, festivals, theater performances, art gallery, dance.
Should we clear and say art festivals?
Sure, art festivals.
So
We don't want Burning Man necessarily.
Commissioner Chase, how
That's
does
what
this,
people like, then we'll do
how
it.
does this relate to question one?
Take over
Because
the
question
library
one is asking most of those
Right.
things.
So now I'm going to go through all the other questions and cross the ones that are going to be covered by that. So this is going to be, the only thing, and we might do this as a separate question, is the Art Community Center. But
Yeah, I think that needs to be its own.
it is a
thing.
different
so we
question.
cross out the city art events, cross out the community, cross these all out because they're already umbrellaed under that one question. Then,
Progress.
okay,
Is annual art festival in there then? Or
we did put
just
art festivals.
Okay,
Yep,
festivals.
art
yeah.
festivals. Okay, there's our number one question.
The one that you
Somebody
crossed
got
out.
that written
You
down?
crossed out
noted,
D, children's
noted?
art.
Okay, do you, or maybe I can
Yes.
look at your notes afterwards, I guess, because I don't think I
Commissioner
quite
Chase,
got it, like
Yeah.
you said.
you crossed out children's art.
Yeah, I did.
Workshops and events and-
Let's put that back in.
Children is
Children,
different.
yeah, that's important.
Can we
yeah.
say youth?
Children art.
Yeah,
programs.
youth, Jeff, thank you. Youth, can we change children to youth?
Sure.
Thankfully, youth at heart.
Youth programs, youth art programs, is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. Youth art programs.
12 years old sometimes, you know.
That's recorded.
I'm sorry, I don't think I have it totally.
Okay, I'm gonna read it one more time.
Yes, please read it for the record.
Here we go. What art programs would you like to see more of in Oregon City? Rate each one on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 to 10?
1 to 5.
1 to 5.
1 to
10 is
5.
too many.
Yeah.
Music, murals, sculptures, classes, art festivals, theater performances, art gallery, dance, youth art programs, and then other.
Yeah. That could be our whole survey, practically.
I know.
I know, like, that's it, right
You know
now,
what?
that's the
I
only
think that-
question we need.
Okay, where's my gavel?
Done, we'll get it out by October.
I mean, you all were saying you wanted a short survey, so like that's.
good.
And maybe ask a question too, like people could write.
What's your name?
What?
Actually, I think it has to be anonymous.
No.
Yeah.
Does that have to be anonymous?
Well, yeah, that's how we're
should be.
posting it, yeah.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's-
as long as we don't punish them though, if they,
Everybody ready?
You were saying like 5 minutes. 5 minutes would be like
Their other.
multiple choice, maybe
We do
one
have to
thing that
ask
you write an
about
answer
grants,
to, and then one more like
Yeah.
yes or no kind of question.
Yeah, I would love people just kind of give some opinions at the end too. Okay, how about the next one is that next question next to it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think an art center would be to the residents? An art center would be a physical building that offers, and I think on that, I think we should wordsmith that to that includes all forms of art.
So what if you took that question and just took A and attached that to the end of that instead of whatever's written there?
Yeah, could we do that? That would incorporate all of the art forms as in question one. That includes all art forms as noted in question one.
I'm a bit confused,
It
but
doesn't hurt to, like, it doesn't hurt to repeat things.
yeah, I would
Like,
just
if you
list
repeat
it.
the art, it's like, when people read it twice, I mean, if you say it's the thing referred to before,
Yeah.
it's like,
And maybe we could put including but not restricted to, you know.
Or just, I mean, there's ways, you could say visual art, performance art, music.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of like sums up the big three, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, make it sound really exciting so people want to do it.
okay.
If I'm leaving out a type of art, let me know, but
So
I
let's
think
words-
visual, performance, and music.
Let's wordsmith that
It
one
should-
more
it
time
should
with that
also-
language that you have, Tammy Jo. On a scale of 1 to 10, how
Are we doing 1 to 10 or 1 to 5?
Five.
1 to
I'm
5.
gonna go 1 to 5, okay. On a scale of 1 to 5, how important do you think an art center would be to, let's just put to Oregon City,
Question mark.
and I just want to put that would incorporate
Visual arts,
visual
performance art, and
performance.
music.
That last part of the question though, is that what we want it to state? Would be to the residents of Oregon City, or would it be to you? How important would be to you?
Let's do you, let's just put to you.
I wouldn't say that.
It's not correct. I'm just saying, is that what we want?
That was my instinct, but we're talking about a bigger, broader.
We're having them think about Oregon City.
Okay.
Right, because
Place.
me personally, like, I don't have kids, you know, so
Agreed.
if you're asking what I need, it's different than you asking me what I feel like my community needs.
Okay.
I feel like my community would benefit from youth arts programming.
Yeah.
All right,
I personally would not benefit from that.
my opinion has changed.
And
Okay.
And the question
sold
should
ya.
really include children's art.
Youth.
Youth, we're changing, youth.
Yeah.
And I would like
Could
to
we
say including but not limited to visual, performance, and music.
If you feel like you want to add that, that's fine with me.
I would change it a little bit then. I would say would be to the Oregon City community instead of residents of Oregon City. Yeah.
Okay,
Community's good.
Because
The scale.
it feels like you're doing,
To the Oregon City.
Because residents like
Nation
have to
building
live
with it,
here.
right?
Community could be like visitors and tourists.
yeah.
okay, let's do it one more time, see if anybody, how everybody feels that. I want like every full people feeling
Yep.
good. It's all
Give it to
about
us.
feeling good.
Scale 1 to 5.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how important do you think an art center is to the Oregon City community, including but not limited to visual, performance, and music?
I think it needs to have that second sentence, an art center might be a physical building that offers
Yeah,
classes.
I-
Because
we're
I
putting-
think it helps contextualize it. If you
Okay.
have, it's confusing to me to
Yeah.
have like that long sentence.
How about,
Split it into
to include
add that, I see what you mean.
So an
future
art center,
tense.
what would it,
Yeah.
So it has to be
you're
like,
saying it could be an art
Would-
center?
An art center might be a physical building that includes.
okay,
yeah.
right. And Commissioner Lugo, did you have
I was
something
just
to add
saying,
to that?
yeah, the way that you read it, you kind of took out the conditional future tense, and I think it's really important to include that in there, because otherwise the sentence doesn't really,
Okay,
doesn't
so
quite
would
completely
be,
make sense.
we want to make sure it says would be.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Okay, one more time. On a scale of 1 to 5, how important do you think an art center would be to the Oregon City community? An art center would be a physical building that offers visual, that offers, wait a minute.
It might
An art
offer-
center would be a physical building that offers, I want to put limited, include,
say
would include.
That could offer.
That could offer.
That could
Could
offer.
offer.
And maybe in parenthesis, you could put similar to Beaverton's arts. Center.
Well, no, we don't want to call them out, no, yeah.
Could include visual, performance, and what else were you gonna add?
Music,
I mean, you have to have the plural arts
yeah.
listed, not
About
Singular.
An art center would be a physical building that includes, but is not limited to, visual, performance, and musical arts.
Instead of building, I'd say location, physical location.
Physical location, okay?
Yeah, I like that.
What about youth? We wouldn't include youth.
Visual performance. Well, I think the youth would be included in that. These are kind of more gross. Visual performance,
I mean, I think,
kids' performance.
I think most people, like, the first thing they're gonna think about is this gonna be something for that their kids can do? It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, most Oregon City.
How about, do you want to put for both adults and children?
How about
Youth and youth.
I think
all ages?
for all
ages.
I think older adults might want to go take a, I don't know, a drawing class, you know?
Yeah, I do.
That's
Yeah,
a good
love
idea for all
You're not older yet, see, you're too young to be older.
I'm old enough to take an art class.
Oh, yeah, but you're not an older community member yet.
Okay.
At least not older than me. So,
And you're not ready.
and I'm not ready, I'm not there yet. You can't
Ian,
get there
are you
before me.
taking these notes on this? I know that you're probably scribbling and scratching and scribbling and scratching.
I am,
but-
and then
Okay, good.
I'm also
Oh, yeah,
glad that.
and we're on.
We're recording.
We're recording. Hi, Daniel.
He's not gonna watch it. He's gonna watch it again.
Okay,
They're
we're
all
gonna
laughing.
try one more time. Here we go. On a scale of 1 to 5, how important do you think an art center would be to the Oregon City community? An art center would be a physical location that includes but is not limited to visual, performance, and musical arts for all ages. Thank you. Our permission.
Then recording.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's good. So that's number 2. Bam.
We're on 2.
How do you think the arts could improve the quality? What do you think about that question? Is that needed? How do you think
I
the
don't
arts
like
could
it.
improve the quality?
Are we on the very last question on
Yeah,
that
on
page?
page
I don't think it's necessary. I'm not quite sure
Yeah,
how we would use that information.
yeah.
Yeah, that's almost enough for like writing an essay. rather than-
Yeah, I mean, there's other ones in here we kind of, that we might have jumped over. I'm more interested in
Yeah, I
what
agree.
role do you feel the arts should play in Oregon City? But
Yeah.
I think we
agree.
can cross that other one off.
Yeah, okay, everybody in agreement with that we're gonna take off?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna take that off, and we're gonna kind of think about this role maybe at the end of the survey for something they can give their opinion on. So put a little parentheses on that. On to the next page. Please rank and order what kind of community, gone, we already covered that. Please rank and, oh yeah, we already did that, bam, done. Please submit any questions that you want to ask the community. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, wait, that's the
Grants.
category.
That's the category.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't jumping over this, number
Okay.
8. But go ahead.
Yeah, that first one is included in the first question that we asked. It's, I think it's kind of a repeat. We
Yes,
have 3 or 4
yes.
people answering, and
Yes.
people kind of ask the same questions, which is wonderful. Please submit any questions that you would ask the community related to artist grants. Okay, here we go. Here goes the grant money. So
Although
is
this
gonna
one's
be
not
fun.
related to grants. I wrote it with not thinking about grants specifically. I was thinking about public art projects.
Okay, okay.
So that's, yeah.
I just want to say that your question is the best worded question of the survey. I would really hate to lose this question. It's really good.
Thank you. I took it from the mission statement that we created together.
So can we just take your question and then just move it up so it's out of the grant section and goes below our like mega question?
Our mega question.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because I think that's what you're saying, is it doesn't fall into this category, but it
Yeah.
falls into the above category.
So that
And I
would
feel like it's a slightly more specific version.
Yeah.
It takes the big question and then like, all right, let's focus that.
so if we did that, Trace, that would be.
Beautiful.
Commissioner Trace,
That would be number
perfect.
2.
And we're talking about, please rank and order the
Yeah.
importance of the focus of future, yeah. I
Public
don't
art
think we even have to wordsmith that. I
So
think
they're
that's
ranking them
beautiful.
1 through 4, or
5.
ranking them, no, but, so when you say rank,
rank
is
in
it you're
order
not
of
scaling, you're
Yeah.
putting it, you're prioritizing them, right? Is
Yes,
that-
prioritize.
Okay,
Right,
So maybe we want to
As
say
opposed-
prioritize, like
Yeah.
prioritize this
Yeah,
list,
instead of rank, let's use prioritize.
number 1 through 4.
And we want to keep that. We don't want to switch it to the other style we had before. Are we looking for a variety here or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just want to make sure.
yeah,
So would this be question number 3 then?
yeah. And do we want to put it right underneath the very first question, so it's really number 2?
Yeah.
Let's make it number 2.
Yeah.
So we have 3 questions, right?
We have 3 questions already.
You're on fire.
What did you say?
We're on fire.
You look at the clock, let's go. What would be the best use for a community art grant? Check all that apply. Input?
We should take art gallery off that list because normally for-profit art galleries would not receive grant funding ever.
Okay, done.
And they have nonprofit art organizations.
Exactly. If it's a nonprofit that has a gallery, it would be a nonprofit organization.
Okay,
We can, in its place, potentially add youth programming or youth arts programming.
Yeah. That's great. Let's do that. Everybody's gonna vote for that one.
Whatever.
But that's fine. They can vote for that. Then we'll know we need to support the youth.
For the first one, individual artists for a specific, should we say public project or just project?
Specific project, because it might not necessarily be public unless we want it to be, and that would then make it a requirement that it's only artists doing public art projects as opposed to an artist doing a community project or working, like if they're doing a social practice project. It would be really limiting for us.
But wouldn't we want any project we give grant to have some public,
Yeah, but it could have a
We can decide that when we
Yes.
make the grant application, but I don't think we want to specify that here in
because it's
case,
limiting us.
because that's a whole conversation.
Yeah.
There's so many different kinds of grants we could offer to,
Yeah.
like,
well, I mean, this isn't gonna necessarily change what kind of grants we're giving out.
But it will if we say public art, because that would indicate that they're wanting the funding specifically for an artist making public art.
we
If
could
if
distinguish
word
between
that.
those two to see if they felt differently about them. But as far as what data we would be getting from that.
Yeah, I feel like if we're asking the public, they're gonna be like,
Community project.
yeah, something
Community.
community focused. I don't think they would necessarily understand the difference between, the categories you were listing off there. But
Well, right, but that's also why we're not making it that specific, because they're, like you said, they're not gonna understand that.
Could you give an example of what an individual artist for a specific project means? Because when I read that, I don't know, I have no imagine that, like,
Well, like I've gotten many grants for art exhibits. So for if I get an opportunity to exhibit in a gallery, then I can get funding to help me create my work, frame my work, transport the artwork, whatever support I need to make that actually happen. Individual projects can also be, what's the word? Like professional development. Sometimes that'll be an individual project. What else? You gotten those? I've gotten a bunch.
Oh, yeah. No, I think
Yeah.
those are two major ones. I mean,
Yeah, professional development and like exhibitions is one. Social practice projects is one.
and professional development is broad. It could be an opportunity to learn how to make bronze sculptures, but how are you going to have money for that without a grant if you've never done it before?
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, it's also something that we would outline when we write the grant. All I'm saying is we shouldn't limit ourselves in the question when we're asking it to, do you know what I mean? So that when we go to actually write our grant,
well, it won't help us if we
Yes.
don't know that they also, if we're making grants that could be for a broad spectrum, then it doesn't help us to know just if there's support for
Yes.
public unless we also
yes.
differentiate that.
What do you think if you just clarified at that, for a specific project, including but not limited to professional development, exhibit, just so people have an idea, so they know like, oh, that's what that means. I didn't know artists could do that. So they know that it's like an individual. I'm not money isn't gonna be going to an organization, but it's gonna be going to an artist that's going to produce art.
Or could it be reworded to say, to support the development of an artist from Oregon City?
Yeah, because they would need that, I mean, that would 100% be a criteria. They would have to be a local artist.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Individual local artists for a specific project.
I just like to say that, like for a question like this, I mean, for a general resident of the community, they're gonna be looking for things that are more general, like programs that support youth in the arts, programs that help clean up the environment, programs that, you know, like highlight Oregon City or something. It's like, it's gonna be kind of like more, I mean, people are gonna want things that are more like about the community rather than like a mural, you know, even though a mural is a good word, but it's like,
I don't know,
I think they're gonna surprise us.
I think we'll find out what's important to them when we get the survey
Yeah.
back.
Okay. I mean, I know so
I agree.
many, businesses that want a mural, they don't have the money for it. So to be able to say, and we have like 5,000 available, or we have 10,000 available, or we can give you a matching grant, well, you know, something like that, that people would jump at and say, yeah, I want a mural on there.
And there's a
So
lot
I
of
see
like
growth.
individual artists that live in this community, like more than you guys might realize. If you've ever been on the Beaver Creek Open Studio tours, and they are all gonna vote for the support to individual artists. They're gonna check that box.
Does it make
And we
sense
can
to
know,
say that
just-
then, like, you know, we wanna start, we would like to establish a grant program. A grant could go to an individual artist or a community-based organization or a neighborhood. I mean, I don't, I mean, like,
Yeah.
maybe you should explain who potential, when I first heard about it, I just thought it would be limited to artists, actually. Like, it would be something to help encourage artists to take residence in Oregon City or specific, you know, that's what I thought it was,
Right.
specifically for an artist. But if you're
Yeah.
saying it could be a business, it could be
Yeah.
a church that wants to do some, I mean, I don't know, maybe explaining a little bit.
I like that idea of like, it's an arts grant, yes, but it can, like you said, it could go to a business. It could go to the neighborhood associations.
Yes.
Because they would be the ones that could potentially organize a mural.
Individual, nonprofit,
Individual nonprofits.
Community group.
community group.
Yeah.
I like all those words. I think that's good context.
Within.
So maybe that's more helpful than just saying like,
Groups within Oregon City, yeah.
I mean, we could say mural, but yeah, I see what you guys are saying. Like, I definitely like the idea of calling out the neighborhood associations
Yeah.
because we love our neighborhood associations.
Right.
Community groups like neighborhood associations.
At least
So could we,
McLaughlin Neighborhood Association.
could we add to this list?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kenema, I hear it's very
Art in
contentious.
public spaces.
That's what I hear. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you, everybody hear that?
Sorry, no.
Commissioner
Oh,
Garrett?
I wanted to add to the list, art in public spaces.
yeah.
Community art grant, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Yeah, I was just rereading it and seeing how it fit.
fit all a little better, yeah.
Yeah, well, and I guess I'm just interested in knowing if they're interested, if people think the best use for a community art grant is for art in public spaces, or if it's for an individual artist on a specific project, or if it's, so I think it's its own category. I don't think it necessarily replaces mural. I think there was that
Yeah.
conversation about,
That kind of leads some good creative breadth.
Another category maybe is arts education
Yeah.
Yeah.
for all ages.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice broad grant too, because pretty much all of the entities we listed could apply for an arts education grant. It could be neighborhood association, a business, a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Could be any of those as long as it's focused on arts education.
So do we preface this question with saying, community art grants can benefit individuals, nonprofits, community groups, and then what would be the best use for a community art grant?
Yes, there we go.
And
Can you say
then
that
list
one more
these
time?
options?
And we'll take a note on that. That
Sure.
sounded great.
Community art grants can benefit individuals, nonprofits, and community groups, period. What would be the best use of a community art grant? Check all that apply. And then this list that we've created.
And I got, can benefit individuals, nonprofits, and what was the last one?
Community groups.
Community groups, okay.
I guess within Oregon City, do we also want to say?
Yeah.
within
Yeah,
Oregon
within Oregon
City?
City, yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Do
Perfect.
we want to add businesses or to that list, or is that community groups broad
Community
enough for
groups, I
that?
would
I
think
think
would cover
community
that.
groups.
Okay,
Yeah,
Got nonprofits.
I mean, that's fine, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to add anything to it? I'll read
So
it.
then what's
and
our
then-
check boxes then for that?
Yeah, and do we want to do that, check all that apply?
Yeah,
Or put a scale of one to?
Or
okay.
rank them.
All right,
Is what is checking them, if someone just checks all of them, does that give us,
any?
Yeah, I think it's okay to have them check all, because we're thinking about developing this arts program, and if we find that everybody supports all of them, we can allow all of these type of things to be allowable under a grant program, versus, oh, we found that no one checked that particular box or something like that, or maybe someone came up with a good other one.
But wouldn't it be more like helpful to know not only what they want to include, but the ranking of them? The
priority.
I agree
prioritization?
with that. I kind of agree. I would like to know what's most important. If we have money to give, where would you really like it to see it give?
That would maybe.
yeah, because once we launch that grant program, we could get all of our applications in, and it's a matter of deciding between, one or two or
Yeah,
three.
yeah, just because we think all the money should go to youth, that isn't necessarily what the community, like, we might think that's what the community wants, but maybe the survey gives us a really different answer.
So,
So on a scale of 1 to 5,
yeah,
what is most important to you? How would we word that on a scale of 1 to 5? Rate
each.
each category. Okay, are we ready for a read? And then people can think on it, see if we want to
Yeah.
add anything else. Okay. Community art grants can benefit individuals, nonprofits, and community groups within Oregon City. What would be the best use for a community art grant on a scale of 1 to 5? Rate each, I don't know, category item. I need to wordsmith that, but if you think of a good word for that. 1, individual artist for a specific program. Projects, okay, specific projects.
Local artist, individual,
Okay.
local artist.
Local artist. Okay. Individual local artists for a specific,
Art project?
for, s-
I mean, that
yeah,
might be an
I
added
gotcha.
word, I don't know if
I
we need
think
it or
the
not.
specific should all be taken out, just so you know.
Okay.
Individual, I think individual
Individual
artists, yeah.
local artists, individual
Individual
local.
local
How
artists.
simple. Individual local artists,
Yes,
done.
I agree, less words is better.
Individual local artist. Youth arts programs. Mural installation.
Just murals.
Just murals.
Installation is too specific.
Yeah.
Okay. Murals. Art in public spaces. Arts education for all ages.
Arts education, I don't know if do we need to
Yeah,
say the all
just
ages
arts
there?
education.
It's redundant,
Education.
just arts education,
Okay, arts education, other.
boom.
Boom.
Community groups.
We
We
had-
said it in the beginning,
Yeah.
right, it's in the question itself.
We are almost at the end, kids.
I feel like, I'm
so
sorry,
that's
I
number
feel
4?
strong, I feel strongly
Commissioner
that we
Lugo?
should keep for all ages in, because I feel like the more often we repeat in our survey that we're asking questions that
All right,
include
I'm not
youth.
strongly against it, so if you are strongly for it, I can accept that.
Okay, put it back in again.
where did you
Arts
put in?
education for all ages.
All ages, okay, arts education.
Yeah, I like hammer that down. This is for everybody, including kids and adults and,
went
yeah,
back
repeating
from
it.
Paris this morning, so I'm like,
He's just trying to make us jealous over here.
trying to say a wig, actually.
We're getting there, we're getting there.
All right,
Okay, I think this is gonna be the last question. On a scale of 1 to 5, how important do you think art is to a community's economic growth and sustainability, and why?
So that doesn't
that's
make
a
law.
big question.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. Because economic growth and sustainability are two very different things, at least in my mind.
I would leave that blank.
Yeah, well, I would be like, submit.
Commissioner Treese, so what if we went back to this one and asked this as our last question? What role do you feel the arts should play in Oregon City? Please explain.
Similar to the quality of life.
Yeah.
You're saying,
A night at
Again,
least
I'm
more
more
accessible
It's,
mentally.
Yeah.
What role do you feel the arts should play in Oregon City? Please explain.
I think the explain thing is gonna be difficult if we're trying to keep it quick and getting, especially since we have a
Because
month.
it implies you need to write a bunch if you say
Yeah.
please explain.
I was thinking of that when I was putting down a couple of possible answers. We could do, not necessarily sold in this term, but like beautification of public places, community building, tourism. We could maybe come up with a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
more.
To give them
Sure.
some, like an actual tangible thing to like grab
Yeah,
onto.
and then other,
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
it.
sure, I like that.
And
So
those
yeah,
are categories we haven't really.
So we're making.
Yeah,
we haven't really talked about it yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like it because people don't always know why art is important.
yeah, prompt them.
So Commissioner Planton, could you repeat that one more time, and where does that go in the
So,
question?
to the question, what role do you feel art should play in Oregon City? You could say the
Multiple
beautification.
choice options.
Yeah, multiple choice options, rank 1 through 5.
Oh, the number 2.
Beautification of public places, community building.
Hold on, she's handwriting it.
Oh,
Okay,
Tourism.
I said tourism, but I feel like there should be a word before tourism, like
We could wordsmith it.
promoting tourism.
Yeah.
And then I did other colon, but if there's any actual specific others.
What
that we
was the
want.
second one?
Something about
community
cultural something something.
oh, yeah.
Community. Just read
cultural-
them again, I interrupted.
Something about keeping our history and culture.
Cultural something, you know what I'm getting at, you know where my brain's going, but I don't know the words. Cultural,
And historical.
no, not the history, just the cultural part, because history's, I mean, it's a thing, but different.
Preservation.
No,
Highlighting
Cultural,
cultural and historic
yeah.
uniqueness.
Diversity and
no, it's like,
Wait, what's that called when you,
like when a city is lacking art, it has no culture, so if we wanna be a city with art, and we are rich in culture, like, what is
Enriching
that?
cultural
vitality.
vitality.
Some-
values
that's
or.
good. But something
and
like
what's that word that everybody uses now? It's the thing when you kind of set, not the nameplate, you set your.
Placemaking?
Placemaking. Do we want to use that
No
word?
one's gonna know what this is.
Placemaking is a different thing.
Yeah, it's different.
Okay. So one more time, what was it? Enriching cultural vitality.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
What does that mean?
Well,
Enriching cultural vitality? Like our enrichment? Cultural enrichment.
Cultural enrichment, just say cultural enrichment.
Yes, my goodness.
Yes, vitality does have a certain something.
Yes, it does.
Enriching cultural.
Certain type of movie.
Okay, so, and everybody agree this will be the last question?
Yes.
Okay, last question.
So is that?
What role do you feel the arts should play in Oregon City? Rank, I'm starting to lose it, so rank on a scale of 1 to 5, the following, come on, people, help me.
Categories.
Categories, the following categories. Beautification of public spaces.
Okay,
Promoting of tourism.
great.
Enriching cultural vitality.
No.
Cultural enrichment. Cultural enrichment.
Man, I didn't catch that. Vitality stuff. Cultural enrichment.
There was something else about community, right?
Community building.
Community building, I didn't get that one.
What about economic development? Because everybody knows
Yeah.
communities that have arts and culture, their home values go up and
Yeah.
their
Economic.
Economic development,
economics,
that's great.
yeah, economic,
Economic. Yeah.
Economic
Good one.
development.
Development.
because places with no culture have lower.
And we need to
revenue.
push that more.
Economic growth?
What's that?
Economic growth or development?
I think development.
Development.
Even just health.
hang in there.
Economic health, economic
It will
development.
be developed.
Okay, one more time.
All right.
What role do you feel the arts should play in Oregon City? On a scale of 1 to 5, rate the following categories: beautification of public spaces, promoting of tourism, enriching cultural.
No, cultural enrichment.
Why am I not getting that? Cultural enrichment, community building, economic development, other.
And are we trying to prioritize them or rank them?
Well, what's the difference between?
If it's
priority-
1 to
Well,
5,
I think each,
that's what
isn't
we're
each one
Oh,
gonna
I
have 1
gotcha.
to 5 for each
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, I think we should rank the individuals as opposed to prioritize.
Okay.
Oh, rank them individually.
So give each one 1 to 5.
A value.
That's very
Yeah.
Rank and point, yeah, so we'll keep
And make
that.
a note that we'll need to clearly define what is 1 and what is 5.
Yes,
Yeah.
I hope that's a given, yes.
Yes, do the sad face.
Yeah.
Yes.
Emojis, 5's the most and 1's the least.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, is it
Five is-
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I
You've been doing your surveys backwards all your life.
That's why we need the key to
we're
it.
gonna skew it.
Can we make the bubbles smiley faces? Like,
Yeah.
if you have a frowny face and in the middle
Oh,
it says
actually, I want to suggest one, it's not really a question, but I think at the very end we should say, any additional comments you'd like to give to the Arts Commission, please write in here.
Yes, did you
Can
get
we
that?
mention where they
And-
can come
okay.
to a meeting too?
Yes.
Can we
I-
say that?
That was the other thing I was thinking
Yes,
of.
let's invite them to a public meeting
Yeah.
from the,
Get in
invite it to the
here.
city.
Let them know. Third Thursday, or they can come.
Did you just,
Yeah, let's not turn into Parks and Rec.
No, I mean, they can come here. We have open public comment at our meetings.
Oh, okay.
No, well, only if you're organizing that and bringing a certified server. 'Cause
Did we do it? We have all the questions.
We did.
I think we did it.
Do we have a
I
vote
want
on
to
it?
do one more round robin. Anybody have anything that they want in regards to the questions? Any other comments, any feelings? One by one. Anybody?
Just nothing like
Say it now.
tied to the content, but I think one other thing that'd be kind of fun is if we're mailing these out and they're gonna just scan it and then that piece of paper is gonna be there, we should give them something like they can color in, something kind of,
Oh, like an art thing.
like an art thing on it. But that's just side.
Yeah.
If we're already spending the money on developing them, and it's just a piece of paper they're gonna scan and then go online and fill out the survey, they're gonna have this piece of paper they can recycle or they can
Maybe
color
the
it in.
scan has a special link to print something else.
You know what I
coloring
really,
books are
you know what I really love
so
was,
popular now for adults and children. Would be fun to put a little picture on the back that you could color in.
so I have a suggestion with that. Is
wanna
there
take
any chance,
Ownership of that, draw something?
What?
is there any chance that we could reach out to the artist that did the mural on the side of the White Rabbit? There's that painting that he did down in the very bottom corner of all the herons. That's just so incredible. And I would love to see that as, maybe an image on the, just as an idea.
He did something special on there for my
Yeah.
sister. So yes, absolutely, I see him. We're doing an art project together. So at the First City, so we've been meeting regularly. So absolutely, absolutely.
Well, let's see what the capacity is. I feel like we're asking for a lot, but let's see what the city's capacity is. But yes, let's ask. Let's see
Yeah.
what's possible.
Okay.
Something that would,
Yeah.
Color.
I just feel like we're Arts Commission, we should be promoting arts in everything we do, and I feel like you get those survey things, you can scan them and do them, and then you just recycle it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just like a one pager. I'm trying to remember, we just did one, about the utility billing, not the utility billing, about broadband. So tell us, like, it was a survey about broadband, and I think it was just a one page insert, 8.5 by 11 thing that went into the, so maybe it's the same thing, we can do it 8.5 by 11, and all you need is a little QR code on it, you got the whole rest of the page to.
Right. Do we want to take a little, kind of, I don't even know if you have to actually vote, but a little consensus if we want to do that, but then somebody would have to take the responsibility of that drawing that goes on the back of the page.
What do you say, take that responsibility? What do you mean?
That they would find a drawing and send it out to the printer and say, this is what we're going to,
Well, wouldn't that be the people, the city folks that are doing the graphic design and putting the thing together.
But wouldn't we have to give them our little thing that people can color in? Don't they need like a graphic that we can send this and say, hey, put this on the back and say, color it if you want.
We need to confirm what they're printing on.
Yeah, because if it's a glossy postcard.
Or something that fits. I think they just
Commissioner
said it
Trace?
was.
Yes.
So I mean, what I was trying to, I'm not sure if it came across, but what I was trying to suggest was that we reach out to the artist who did the mural on the side of the White Rabbit and take that heron thing that's down in the bottom corner.
Right.
It's so beautiful.
Just
And like
that
turning that
image.
into a line drawing that could be a color thing.
Right.
You know, and it would be a way, maybe we could also include information about the artist.
Sure.
Say that it's, you know, on the side of the White Rabbit as a way of promoting that artist. And it's also like a coloring DIY thing. And it
Right.
kind of informs the community about a public mural in our community.
And I would vote for that, or not that we need a vote, but can we get a consensus on that? Or would everyone like to do that?
I'm for it.
I'm for it, but somebody has to take the initiative to ask the artist then has to agree to make the drawing.
I'll take the thing
Okay,
because I see them all the time.
If-
That'd be
okay.
If it doesn't work out, I have some Grand Ron coloring book that they gave us for.
Yeah, but we have to get copyright permission from them to use their stuff.
They already sent it to us.
The copyright permission?
Yes, for Soulflight to print it and use it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be for Soulflex, it'd be for the city. So the city would need copyright permission. But I do know another coloring book artist, but we could use them, but we would have to ask them if we could use it on a government document.
Yeah, yeah, obviously,
I
and
think the
Brian.
connection to the mural, like you're saying, really
Yes,
makes
let's start
sense.
there.
Like, let's
Okay.
try to
Yes.
connect to a project that we want to highlight.
All right, okay, sounds good. I'll get in touch with them, try to get that done. Everybody's in consensus, that's a great idea.
And I'll
Okay.
confirm that it's an 8.5 by 11. I
Okay.
think that- What was it, somebody sent me, it was a postcard?
It just
I'm not
says
sure.
cardstock in the minutes. That's
Okay,
it.
yeah.
Do we have to vote on these questions now since we changed them all around?
I think they're gonna give us more chance to look at them,
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Oh, okay.
we're gonna, at the next meeting, we'll get the final, like,
or between now and the next meeting, yeah, we
Yeah.
get the next.
we're gonna go over and then.
And then on
the
20th, I think remotely, we can vote on that for the modifications, what the insert is gonna actually look like and get that
We'll
clarified.
be here on the 20th.
It's going to be a remote
Yeah,
decision per the
remotely on the 28th.
Timeline,
timeline.
What?
the approved timeline.
So the survey form finalized and approved by the Arts Commission on the October 20th, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, but, yeah, there's opportunities prior to that.
Right.
Modify
That's,
it.
but yes, I was just referring to the October 20th meeting as far as like,
If it,
last chance to speak up.
I was just gonna say, if it does wind up that it's not in the 8.5 by 11, that link can go to whatever they can print out and color.
This is
Okay.
the one I was thinking of, Commissioner Trist.
Cool, well, we did it. Are we done?
Let's do round robin, because I have something I have to ask everybody, so let's start. Do you have anything that you're doing for your art that you'd like to share?
I have nothing.
Nothing. Commissioner Lugo, anything to share in your art?
I'm just continuing to paint. I guess we're probably gonna have a show with the Oregon regional artists coming up sometime this fall, so.
Yeah, do you know where that's gonna be yet, or?
I think we'll be doing one up in Portland, up at the Sandy Space Commons at 24th and Sandy. I do have, so next Tuesday on my show Transpositive, I have an interview with Ryan Salins. Ryan Salins is a transgender man from Nebraska who educates people on issues related to trans youth.
Wonderful. Do you have a link or dates on that, anything, or something
That's
you'd
on
like to share?
KBOO next Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Okay. I wanted to get a definite answer from each commissioner if they would like to help out at the Archbridge celebration on October 1st. So if anybody can make a commitment to that,
Double check. I will look at my calendar.
I'll get back to you, uncheck.
yeah.
Yeah,
Would it be something where we could sign up for like 2 hours, or what kind of is the commitment? What would we be doing?
I need an artist or not an artist, but I need a volunteer for each table, starting like at between 7 and 7:30 to set up. And I can even take the setup myself with my husband, but starting at, say at, let's do like 9 o'clock, you'll be helping the community to help paint with the artist. We have gotten really shortened. We're down to 5 hours from the artist will start at 7:30. We have till 12 o'clock to bring that mural in.
Can
So-
Soulflakes help with that specifically?
Ooh, yes, we are open to any volunteers. I wanted to kind of reach out to the art commissioners first, so I need one, so at least 3. Mary will be there with me. We'll be kind of running back and forth, checking on everybody as it goes, doing the gopher work. But if I could have one volunteer for each table to welcome the community in and help them paint while the artist is going for it, so we get it done soon.
Okay.
So,
I'll
would you
help.
like to be one of those?
Yeah.
Okay, one
And
of
I have
those,
2 other
we won.
people.
You can add me
You have
too.
2 other people?
Trist.
We have the 3 right there. Would anybody else like to?
You got one right behind you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, good. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, Trist, I was
I could do
thinking.
that too. I mean,
fine.
it sounds like it's between 7:30 and noon, is that what you said?
Yep, 7:30 and noon.
Okay.
Okay,
That's fine.
and what I'm thinking, if nobody from the public is gonna be coming at 7:30. So I don't think the public is really gonna start to come till 9. If you wanna get there at 8:30, me and Mary will take care of any kind of early birds that are coming in and help them out. And anybody else that wants to come, but if you are more comfortable coming at 8:30, we'll get you on a table.
This is better than the time you want us to do stuff at 4:30.
Which we did and then it rained out.
4:30 in the morning?
We did a stealth thing, we like, I almost got Emma talked into it, but it was pouring rain out, and went stealth, me and my husband, and we painted rainbows on the crosswalks in front of the elevator. Well, they were washed out within it was a blast. Wesley came out from Doka with his friend, and they had just come in from the Pride Festival. They hadn't even slept. They came in at 4:30 to help, and it was just like literally 2 hours later, me and Roger were like drive by it, and we're like, it's all gone. But it was fun. Anyway, Mr. Lugo was like, oh, I don't think I can do it. I have other plans. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So thank you. I will be in touch. So Tima, Karen, Mary is always involved in it, and who was it? Emma. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Moving on. Tima, what do you got?
Soulflag's got a Oregon Arts Commission grant last week that we can formally announce. That was exciting, and the Clackamas Review newspaper is going to interview us tomorrow.
Oh, that's
In the
exciting.
newspaper.
Great.
So Art in Oregon, the nonprofit, Celine and I did together. So we're having our party this Saturday, which is
Party!
Party. So maybe I have to say it twice.
Your advertisement was hilarious. Loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Party.
It's this Saturday from 2 to 6 at Stephen Crawford House.
I'll be there.
We will have live music.
Right over there, guys.
Guitar player.
2 blocks
We're
away.
gonna have food.
there.
There's gonna be an art demo. People hanging out. You can see the current art show just before we take it down and switch to the Ghost show, which will be happening in October.
You can also see our 2 of our artists in residence in the upstairs and see what that space looks like, because normally we have 3 or 4 per summer. We just finished our 3rd year, so come get an idea of what they do. We also have a former artist in residence who's on display up there as well, so it's like a happening house now.
From 2 to 3,
Yeah.
will that be enough time to really be able
Yes.
to, okay? 'Cause
Yes.
they have a wedding at 4.
Yes,
Okay.
it's gonna be the neighborhood house party of the weekend.
I love a good party.
Nothing from me.
Nothing.
I'll be out at Camp Colton, out in Colton, Oregon, on October 1st, which is why I didn't volunteer. Doing a community day event out there with artists and residents,
What are you
doing paper and print. We're showcasing the artists that are working out there. So there'll be people doing paper making and letterpress printing.
Oh, great.
And you can just walk around the camp too, if you've
Yeah.
never been out there, and see how much it's changed in the last 5 years.
Yeah. So fun. Mr. Andrews?
Yeah, I'm tired.
But you want to stay? Look how much fun we had tonight.
I did want to share one quick announcement. So we did get insurance dollars. So for the sculpture that was at the corner of the insurance money did come in. And so since we're not able to work with the artist to restore the initial piece, the money says it can be used for a different arts project. It has to be at the same location, but it can
Oh my
be,
goodness.
so
Exciting.
you can
So
talk
you would
about it
disclose
in
the dollar
October.
amount?
Yeah.
I think it was about $5,300 that was received from the
okay.
insurance.
Okay.
It's not a lot, but
You
we'll
can,
work with what we
you can talk about in October what that means. You can commission another artist for that. It just has to be at that same location.
Right.
Yeah. It is kind of a bummer though, because well, not a bummer. That's actually really great that we have the settlement
Yeah.
and there's some flexibility and you all can decide what we should do with it. I also wonder what we should do with maybe we just need to ask the artist what she wants to do with the piece that's just sitting in the Public Works warehouse around the ground of the Public Works
Can you melt it
warehouse.
down and make anything?
I think it's concrete.
But, so that was just wanted to share that announcement. So that
thank
can
you
be
so
something
much.
else. So in October, we'll be talking about how to, that sort of end of term and recommitting up. That's something, for, the piece, what we want to do with it's $5,360 we got.
Right.
And anything else you want to add?
And you do have down the process for the commission board?
Yes.
Okay, we have that
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And I think CCAA is presenting next week. And we're gonna add what was the presentation that you mentioned would be a good,
We had talked at the beginning of the meeting that it might be interesting to invite some of the community members who are involved in Latterette Park and the intersection, just to kind of share about their experience of kind of working with government and trying to make different things
Yeah.
happen.
so maybe November, we could add that on.
I can
And then at some point, I would also like to invite Nicole from the Art Council, who has done projects for sculptures all over her city and just did one with Adirondack chairs for a fundraiser. So she is the same, like political that we are, that she has to watch a lot of things as we do. Love to have her in and have her talk about her process and how they were able to be active in that.
In Lake Oswego, you mean?
Lake Oswego, yeah, Art Council of Lake Oswego.
Oh, and Clackamas Arts for All is coming, that's what you said.
Yeah,
You
Clackamas
said that,
County Arts
CCA
Alliance is
right,
coming.
right, you said that.
Next week, and then we'll do the Lafayette Park, and then maybe in December or January, we'll have the Art Council. Because we'll have money to start some things. All right, everybody, thank you so much, great meeting. We're ending the meeting at 8:40.